Hello.
Hello. We are live. Welcome back to book club, book disco for the girlies, and we have Sydney today from Sid
Hello.
Bookworm. Hello, looking
Howdy.
gorgeous,
Oh,
amazing.
stop.
Look at your lighting; it's like so.
It actually,
freaking
it kind of
bright.
looks like I have a halo.
You do.
I actually never really noticed that. Yeah, no, the lighting in
Yeah,
this house is stellar.
amazing. Yeah, it's like you had like a big idea or something, like in cartoons,
That doesn't
like a
happen
light.
often, but I'll take that.
Do you want to plug your channel and generally like introduce
Sure.
yourself?
I'm Sydney. Hello. I make book videos as well, and this is me. And I also read Babel, and I'm very
Nailed it.
excited about it.
Perfect.
That's pretty on brand, so.
Oh my god. Okay, wait, let me set up I figure we'll talk general broad strokes and then get into the gritty spoiler shit later on.
Absolutely.
Babel.
Babel.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I read it like audio and physically, which is
Yes,
like my favorite way to do everything. And
same.
I don't think I've ever tabbed so much in my life. This for me is like so many tabs.
I
That's
love that for you.
yeah. I told Jan a few months ago, I think when
Yeah.
Jan was on book club, that I was like, I don't have a system, it's just vibes. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
feels like a thing I should tab, and
Yeah.
that's how I tab.
100%.
Yeah. But it was fun because I also like went through and was highlighting things and just like had, I was like gasping, I was commentating to myself
Yes.
in the room, like just to my dog, like listening and reading.
Yeah.
Sunday's looking at me like, what's going on?
What's going on? Are you okay, Mom?
Is everything okay? I know the emotions, the roller coaster.
Truly.
Like what a ride. What did you think? What was your overall rating and like general thoughts?
General immediate vibes are when I think I was not even a fourth of the way through the book. I was like, this is the best book of the year.
Yeah.
And when I got to probably halfway or maybe 75%, I was like, I don't think I will ever read a book that's better than this one.
That's exactly how I feel. That's
Literally.
exactly how
And then I ended, and it's truly like, not only will I not read a better book, I will never appreciate a book more than I appreciate this one, which is like, I think, an important thing, because like it did so much.
Yeah.
Like, on top of just telling like an incredible story, like she did that.
Like the bar is so high.
So high.
So high. And then I've been down a rabbit hole like researching Miss Rebecca Kuang, like I'm her new biggest fan, my hero. But I also still haven't read The Poppy War. So this is my first book. I know. This is my first book of hers. So I've been reading all about her. She's my new idol, everything. And now she's younger than me. She's 25. She was born
shut up. I didn't know that.
She's born in 96, dude. Like
I'm
the genius.
Oh,
the genius.
I can't.
Yeah.
Ooh, I feel bad about myself.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, whoa, I am inadequate. Let me bow down.
I'm inadequate.
Please, Rebecca, absolve me of my like mediocrity.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I'm just like completely fangirling about like her as a person, and also like this came out of her brain.
Truly. Like how?
There's like I think in her acknowledgments, she's like, I wrote most of this manuscript at my favorite little cafe. And I'm like, how? How did you just like sit in a little cute cafe and just birth this into being?
Truly. Well, and she wrote the Poppy War trilogy while she was getting her PhD. Like she was in school while she wrote that trilogy. And that trilogy, like in and of itself, is also like a feat. It is stunning and also iconic. I think that like don't expect as many intricacies in the Poppy War trilogy as Babel, because there's no footnotes in that series, and I think it's a little bit more accessible. Like this is a big brain book. This is a big
brain book. Yeah.
And the Poppy War, I think it definitely still has its like big brain moments and things going on, but like man, like I can't get over Like this is a book that I will read multiple times. Like I feel like a better, smarter person for reading this book.
Yes. Yes. And I felt constantly while reading it, I mentioned this in my Instagram post today, but I would just like have to stop, pause the audiobook and close my eyes and just take a breath because I'm just
Yes.
like astounded that it exists. And it's everything that I could have ever wanted in a, like, I am a linguist. This is what I studied. Like,
Oh my God, you're right.
yeah, like I mean, I only know one stupid language, but I don't know any other like I studied French for 6 years. I studied Japanese for 3, but I could like maybe communicate with a toddler as like my level of, like I have no real knowledge of those languages.
Sure.
But like reading about, I just can't believe that there's a fantasy book of this caliber that has like a vast, dense discussions of etymology and linguistics and morphology and like the niche interconnectedness of things that are lost between translation of languages. Like the magic system itself is like, yeah, you can't really accurately translate stuff. What if we just harnessed that into magic? Like,
right. Well, and like touching on the idea of like she went into so much detail with all of these languages and all of these root words and what they mean, and there were full paragraphs like this big just about like these suffixes and the root words, like things like that. And I was not once bored. I was not once thinking like, okay, this is too much. Like, I don't care about this. Like, it is so vital to like every single word that was said in this book is vital to the story. And it's like, I was just incredibly astounded that I was also just so content because like, I feel like in many situations with all of that information being given to me, I would just gloss over it because I'm like I don't really understand it, you know?
Right.
But I would like rewind and listen again. I would like really make sure that I was listening and understanding even like the Latin things that were being said. I was like, I have never studied Latin in my life. I am now. I am studying Latin.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, no, it was incredible that I was so like, so into it the whole entire time for every moment.
Agreed. I loved the footnotes because sometimes it was like, just in case you didn't get the point, reader, like this is the context. And at other times, because like it was just the footnotes had like a standard format, but sometimes it would be like, here's real facts about the real world for additional context. And other times it would be a footnote related to the novel of like more made up like background stuff.
Yes.
Which just made the whole book feel more like immersive. The fact that like, you know what I mean? Like background fictional information was treated in the same like contextual way. It was like such a genius like touch, I thought.
Really. Well, and like even like especially the footnotes that were like kind of like funny in a way because like it would be like some like piece of trash character that's like a racist piece of trash, and they would like say something in the in the actual story, and then the footnote would like call them out on what they're saying and like kind of set the story straight. Like that was also really really great. And the audiobook was phenomenal because the footnotes were in a different character or a different narrator's voice as well. Come here, baby.
Yeah. That was another thing I loved about like listening to the audiobook is like all the pronunciations and everything was like so clear. That really added another awesome layer.
And just the Chinese characters too. That being pronounced too. Like I have never once understood how those characters could be language. And now I have like, I mean, obviously I don't like understand it completely, but I have like the base knowledge to where it makes sense to me now. And I just, again, it's absolutely incredible.
It's so cool. I know. I love the way that like the whole fantasy book is about language is like my little linguist heart is just so happy about. The book could have sucked and I would have been like, this is my favorite book ever.
Right.
It's about
I know, like Caleb studied, I mean, he's not a linguist or anything, but he studied English in college and like philosophy and religious studies. And like we have prints of some of the artists that are mentioned in this book. Like we have prints that we bought off Etsy, and they're like, I told him he's upstairs because I was like, you can't listen to this chat. Like, you need to read
no
this book.
spoilers.
Yeah, like you aren't allowed. I was like, take your burger upstairs.
Yeah. No way. I know Wes is working late. Otherwise, I would be telling him something similar because this is 100% like he will read this.
Oh yeah. Oh no, Noelle went away. Oh no. I was just grabbing my dinner, but this is my live show now. We're gonna wait for Noelle to get back. Here we are. Hi.
I got so excited that I closed the tab, but I got
I've done that so
I just was like, bye.
No, it's fine. I was grabbing my lunch or my dinner and I was like, well, this is my live show now. Let's chat.
Yeah, please. It's your party.
Oh my goodness. My disco.
Hi, Liv. Can't wait to read this book at some point. I also haven't read the Poppy War. This makes me feel less alone, you know? It is like this. It has been the talk of the town. I own the first one. It's been on so many TBRs this year. And now it's at the tippity top of that TBR after finishing Babel. But yeah, I think I've just been intimidated because that's another series. Like I'm always starting all these series, you know? But that's just how it goes, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely definitely a barrier to entry for many books.
Yeah, and then once I start them, like this happened with when I read the Greenbone Saga this year, is I read Jade City, and then it was like, well, throw the rest of my plans out the window because I'll just read the whole series right now, and that's what happened.
Oh my god, Jade Legacy, I can't even talk about.
Oh my god, yeah.
No, we're not doing it.
No, that's a different live show.
It's a different live show.
Oh my god. Yeah, like where to even start? Like
where to even start, honestly.
Where to even start? I initially was like, I'm gonna tab things that I want to talk about, and I have approximately 5,000 tabs in this book. So
I know.
Like, how possibly?
Like,
what did you think of it being from Robin's perspective versus like any of the other in the group?
I think that it was perfect because he was kind of malleable and I mean, a lot of the characters, especially the ones that are within, you know, the secondary society, so to say, without being spoilery.
Right.
A lot of them have similar backgrounds or like similar upbringings, but I think that he was particularly special because of like he was still a little bit unsure sometimes. So like we got that like going back and forth and seeing both sides, so to say. I really loved him as a narrator. He's my son. I adopted him.
He is my son.
He is my son.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the reader really got to be along with Robin because then you know you start with like being so unsure, everything is so new and feeling so conflicted, but also like, I mean, this is so amazing and Babel is so amazing, and you just kind of end up going on the same journey with him at the same time. That was like such a roller coaster.
Absolutely.
I loved that whole group.
I know. It was so, sometimes it was so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like my heart was ripped out of my chest multiple times. Not even from the betrayals, but also just from like seeing what they like went through as like who they are as people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The dynamic was definitely fascinating. And like so richly done. But like like Robin and Rami and the two girls, just love them all.
I have to know, did you get gay vibes?
Oh yeah.
Oh heck yeah.
100, because in the early on, like when they first meet each other, Robin is like, I'm gonna put my cheek against his cheek. And then there's like later, eventually he's like trying to talk to him about like, oh, how come you're not interested in like this other character's advances? And he looks at Robin and he's like, you know why.
You know why.
That's like the most that we get. But I for sure, there were vibes.
I love that so much. And I actually kind of like appreciate that it wasn't overtly discussed too, because at this time period it wouldn't have been overtly discussed, like for the most part at least. So like I do understand that, but I like truly those moments when they first met, I texted Darian and I was like in all caps, "Is this book gay?" And I was so excited. And she was like, not overtly, but like kind of.
Kind of. There were some vibes.
Oh yeah. Those vibes were there.
Yeah.
So funny.
So wild. Man, what else do we have before we get into spoilers? What do we think?
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I just have one little quote that I saw when I was just flipping through that I put little like stars by. And it was like, I think just talking about like the Tower of Babel in general. And they were like, we're here to make the unknown known, to make the other familiar. We're here to make magic with words. And I was like, we're in it. I was like, this is it. Buckle up.
Buckle up. Yes.
Buckle up is right. Yes.
Yeah. This is the whole like Tower of Babel thing. Obviously that their tower is called Babel. The book is called Babel or Babel, whatever. But like I wasn't expecting the myth to be so prevalent throughout the course of the book. And even like Jericho was thrown in there at one point. Like there was a lot of like or like the plagues of Egypt at one point was like made like a parallel. There was a lot more myth, like religious themes than I thought there was going to be too.
Yeah, and I loved all of the like real world tie-ins that happened, like with Morse code and like all the advancements of society, like around this time. Like I was just I was so blown away.
Yeah,
I just can't.
Yeah. Like there was a whole point talking about like the invention of like steam power versus coal and like how like that was impactful.
And how people were losing their jobs, and it was for this reason, but in the real world, I mean, it could have been this reason. Like, who knows? Like, is this all real?
I know that was like definitely the feeling that you're supposed to have, but she got me. Like I was exactly where she wanted me, because it was like, well, maybe there has been silver working this whole time. That we just didn't. Is this historical fiction?
Literally.
Because it very much felt that way. Like I know it's, I guess it is like dark academia in no uncertain terms with like a little sprinkle of history. Okay, maybe a lot of history and like a sprinkle of magic.
Yeah.
But it was so well researched and so like smooth the way that the magic was interspersed within it that it just flowed.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, all of the timelines, everything, even the author's note in the beginning where she's like, look, here's like the few things that I took creative liberties with. The rest, remind yourself that this is a work of fiction. And so I went into it thinking, oh, there might be like a lot of like weird shit or random events that she made up. And then for it to be so specific, like down to the years and the dates and everything of all these inventions and like happenings and like political events going on. It's like,
do you know how long it actually took her to write this? Like, is that a known fact? Because I could only imagine how long this would take anyone to write. I think
it said a year in the acknowledgement.
That's insane. That is insane.
One thing about me is that I love authors' acknowledgements. It's like a weird thing. Thank you to Bennett, who was the best company I could have asked for during that long, lonely, terrible year in which Babel came together.
Oh, wow.
Long, lonely. So maybe I'll say like 2020. That feels like a good guess.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah.
Probably whatever year after not Dragon Republic, the third in the Poppy War trilogy.
Burning God.
Burning God, dear God. That whenever that one was written, probably started immediately after that, most likely.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially like, knowing that she has like multiple master's degrees, PhD, like in specifically like Chinese studies. I'm sure she just poured herself like into the research and everything for that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there were like pieces of it, already in progress, like while writing the Poppy War.
Right.
If it was
So
just like another outlet or finding the match pairs, like that alone.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like all these match pairs needed for the way that the magic works.
And how long some of them are.
Yeah. Like having to trace back.
Like what?
How do you write that? Like how do you go through
I don't know.
Someone who literally did study etymology, like I know how tedious that process is just to find like one thing for like one throwaway in like a research paper to be like, yeah, I researched this word and where it came from. To do that like dozens and dozens and dozens of times and to make it like work in your super specific magic system that only works with native speakers of those languages. So for you to have to pass like also having knowledge of those languages as a native speaker is like astounding.
It truly.
This is RF Kuang fan club.
At this point, this is just what it is.
Adopt me, please. I'm obsessed. I feel like we're probably ready for some spoilers.
I agree.
Consider yourself warned if you don't want the spoilers.
Consider yourself
Anything
warned.
is fair game now, buddy. What do you want to start with?
Oh God. Let's see. Maybe characters, and then that will like bring us into events. Like one of my favorite characters, obviously aside from Robin and Rami, because they're my angels, but his brother Griffin.
Yes.
Oh my God. Peaky Blinder vibes, and I loved him. I literally wrote in some margin somewhere, like I was like, the scene where that he was showing Robin how to shoot a gun. Like that whole scene was like a little bit unhinged, and I literally wrote, Griffin is giving Peaky Blinders, and I'm here for it. Like he's perfect, and I love him.
Griffin, yeah, I had like conflicting thoughts about Griffin in the way that Robin did, because at first it's like, wow, a secret brother that's going to help me with this like revolution, or I'm helping him with revolution. And then you see like through Robin's eyes, Griffin goes through, like at one point he's like, you've gotten messy, I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah.
And then Griffin's like barely himself together, and Robin finally says, look, I'm out. And at that point, you're like, oh, Robin doesn't trust this guy? I don't trust this guy. And then it all kind of comes around again. So I went through all the emotions about Griffin. And then this 100%. Is exactly that scene where he's like, no, you're going to come up and watch me shoot a gun, whether you want to learn or not, because it's necessary. It was like, oh.
Yeah. And I like the moment where Robin said, I think Griffin was right about like violence being the only answer, and I was like, I literally have full body chills, like the necessity of violence. I was like, I can't handle it.
yeah
Like I will literally be here for like 4 hours if we talk about literally everything, because there are this book is like it's perfect.
It is like a masterpiece, according to Rebecca Roanhorse on the cover, a literal masterpiece in which two Rebeccas, both queens, have to agree.
Truly.
Jinx.
Like in all of the scene switches, like the not scene switches, the like location of like where things were, it was like constantly interesting. Like the fact that they were like, there was a while where they were on ships, you know, traveling, and then in different countries. Like it wasn't just at Oxford, even though Oxford in and of itself, it would have been perfectly interesting. But like it was there, it was just the pacing and the manner in which she told the story. It was like, it was great. I loved the ship scenes, like the time at sea. Wow, I'm remembering how Playfair, right? No, not Playfair. No, Playfair. Daddy. Right? Daddy.
Oh, Daddy was Lovell,
that's right.
The other guy was Playfair, I think.
Yes. Yeah, he was one of the conspirators.
Yeah, he was like kind of the big bad.
Yeah, big bad guy. Oh boy. Man.
Yeah, that guy.
Like what
The
in
pacing,
particular?
though, like even in the beginning, like the first chunk of the book where everything is established, it's like we cover so much ground. Like Robin leaves Canton at like age 10, and then we seamlessly see him grow up for like 8 years. And then he leaves for Oxford, and then we seamlessly see him go through like 3 or 4 years at Oxford. And that's like the first quarter of the book. So then you're like, oh,
you're like,
now
oh, that's not what this is. Like I thought,
what's
like
going on?
I feel like I agree with you that when it got to that certain point, I kind of thought that it was going to be more about like the education process, and it was, but it was more so about like all of the social injustices and social issues at hand, and like all of those things. It was like it became like it was one cohesive story, but it was like so many different like vessels that came into one.
Yeah.
And it was I just everything I say I'm just ending with it was great. It was perfect.
But like exactly. I have literally no criticism. I just only have amazing dumbfounded things to say about this book.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, I'm like as I'm scrolling through like some reviews of this book, I'm like seeing a few like lower rated ratings and being like, this is just no, you're wrong.
Yeah, like you just don't have taste and you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Like I'm never one to gatekeep to be like, you just didn't get it. But
this might be the one time.
This one I might gatekeep Babel. I might. This might be the one.
Oh my goodness.
Similar as far as vibes, as far as like the dark academia, very odd magic system to Vita Nostra, which is another book that I loved this year. That is like in like the top books of the year for sure. And then also has like a kind of a message social commentary that comes out of nowhere that kind of smacks you across the face halfway through the book, and you're like, oh, that's where we're going. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah, very, very good. And so the fact like I had like echoes of Vita Nostra as I was reading Babel, like, oh, maybe this is just my specific taste. Like dark academia that like really has something to say. So it goes a long way for me, I guess.
Full chest.
Yeah. Yeah, the timing, the pacing, stunning. Like so difficult to do, and it just felt so seamless and so natural. Even like the passage of time, like you're saying, on the boats and like in the travel scenes also felt so seamless. Just in the span of a paragraph should be like, and then weeks went by and you're just like, okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't even
effortless.
And it was like I feel like it wasn't even said like simply like that either. It just like morphed like slowly like into like the new time whatever we're doing. And like I don't even remember like I don't even remember realizing like, oh, she changed, like now we're here. Like it just became, I was like it was just a thing. It was just like we're here, and without even consciously making the knowledge. I don't know. I don't know.
It was really like so
seamless.
Sneaky because, and I feel like I almost noticed it only because I'm in the middle of NaNoWriMo right now, and that's something to notice myself struggling with is like, how do I do not need to write these next 2 months of boring shit. Like, how do I naturally just tell you? And then 2 months went by. So I was like really zeroed in on like, how is she just doing this so naturally? And something I noticed was she would do this thing where a big event would happen, and then Robin would say, when I reflected on this months later, I would remember this about this event, or I thought about the look in this person's eye, which is like so powerful as like a reflection character tool, but also just like such a sneaky way to be like, oh, yep, a few months went by. Robin is thinking about it now.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I definitely like super appreciated that about the writing, but I don't think that I knew how to like say that I appreciated that about the writing.
It's so like sneaky.
It is so sneaky. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's how she did it.
Yeah. Well, like a few times, like I definitely noticed, I started to pick up on that. And then there was a couple other times where it would be like the opposite. Like I think when they were like going through school and she would talk about the summers or the breaks in like super like very sensory, like pretty imagery of like, oh, we went on to this place and the four of us did this together and we went to the bakery and we did these things. And anyways, now it's the start of term again. So it just, you're like get caught up in like, oh, that's like such a nice memory that Robin just had. And then without realizing like all this time has passed.
Yes. It's truly, truly incredible. It's like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, it's almost like she's a fucking genius.
Yeah, truly. Truly.
Us mere mortals could never.
We could not even fathom being at this level.
How do we feel about Papa Level and all of the fucked up shit that he inflicted on Robin and Griffin?
I mean, obviously, I mean, I don't think that Griffin was even the first either. I mean, he's just an abusive, racist piece of trash that I think just took advantage of the women in Canton, right? Canton, I believe.
Yeah.
And probably everywhere, like so many other places around the world, you know, who knows? But like oh my God, I would get so angry when Robin finally had like the courage to tell him off about like about his mother and how he could have saved his mother, and she like how his response was like, she's just like a worthless piece of garbage or whatever he said about her. Then I was like my throat constricted, and just like simple things like that. I was like, he is truly the scum of the earth. Oh,
am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Wi-Fi, please.
It's okay. It was just for dramatic effect. He's the scum of the earth. And then hold.
Scum of the earth.
No, I mean,
you just made me think of when you were saying that they weren't the only ones. Did you catch at the very end in Victoire's epilogue where she's talking about Griffin's letter that God, this made my heart break too, that Robin never even read that letter, but Victoire did.
Oh, I have full body chills even in my chin.
And she says in the letter that Griffin said that they weren't the only ones, that there was 3 more. Where was it?
Oh my God, literally, okay, no, we'll come back to that. Hold on. Go ahead.
Okay, this is only like 3. Oh yeah, here it is. She has the letter from Griffin that Robin never opened. Meanwhile, she's read it so many times she's memorized it.
We're not the only ones.
Yeah, on 540. Martlet, Oriole, and Rook. She could see in her mind's eye the final sentence scrawled before the signatures like an afterthought. We're not the only ones. Like, does that mean there are more siblings?
I didn't even catch that. Shut up. No, I literally, what I thought that was that there are more connections for the society. Like, that's what I thought. No, but it's not to Victoire. It's to Robin. And those are bird names. Griffin, Robin, Oriole, Rook, Martlet. I don't know about Martlet, but all of those are bird names.
You're a genius. I did not pick up on that one.
You should have. You're the bird lady.
I should have. Wow.
No, that has to be what it is. Holy shit.
You're so right.
You are so right too.
We really are two brain cells collectively. We'll put that together.
Oh my God.
Scooby-Doo action. That has to be it though.
Oh, it has to be. It has to be.
So where are they? Does that mean they're younger? Like if they weren't at the school yet, assuming that Lovell knew about them and was giving them like a similar secret English upbringing like he did Robin, that makes me think that they're younger somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably. Oh boy, hot dog.
Hot dog.
Wow, I'm so glad that you brought that up because now I have to tab that.
My tabs are like not in this room.
Crazy. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Griffin's. We do have to talk about all the deaths, even though it's going to break me.
Oh yeah.
But Griffin's death, weirdly, I think, hurt me worse than Rammy's.
See, Rammy's was so sudden
Yeah.
that it took me a while to actually process it. So I think that I agree with you. I don't know. I mean, Robin's death truly, I think, was the most emotional because it was the last lines of the book.
Yeah. The last line. Yeah.
Like I lost it. Like when she as the window smashed in, Robin shut his eyes and imagined his mother's face. She smiles, she says his name. Because at the beginning of the book, it was like when she was dying, she's like, wasn't it like she couldn't say his name, or the last thing she said was his name, or
I think it
something
was the
about
last thing she said.
Yeah.
Because
and it was
that
like,
came up a few times like throughout the book. Robin would have this like internal monologue because we never know. We never learn his given name, which is like such an intentional choice. And even when he has that conversation with the other like political contact when they're in Canton, and he has that like private conversation with him, the other man is like, "What's your name?" And on instinct he says Robin, and then it's like, this sounds so weird to be talking in my native tongue and use my like English name, but I haven't had a use or reason to use my given name before. And I thought maybe we're gonna get it, and then still no. So then it's like at the end, it just like his mother says his given name again for the first time since anyone has in the course of the book. Was like, I lost it.
Yeah, I mean, B-roll caught me sobbing.
Yeah.
So, like, no shame.
I'm so excited to watch that vlog now. I've been saving it. I'm like, oh, I can't wait.
Oh my goodness. It was a lot, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. That really got me. The whole scene where they're trying to figure out, okay, who's gonna go, who's gonna stay, and Robin is like, I don't want any of them to stay, but I can't do it on my own, was like, oh, now I'm crying. I'm crying.
Truly. And I'm glad that Victoire got out. And then the random other person who, it was fine. But like whatever. But like, oh my goodness, the professor and then those other people, like oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Like it was written to the point where like it wasn't just they were all so terrified and you could feel it. Oh my God, I'm literally gonna cry. I'm literally crying.
Like Robin was the way that we're like in his head as it's happening, and he's like watching the clock tick down, and like each few seconds he has like a different burst of memory. And like one of the last ones is like Rammy. It's like a vision of Rammy or Rammy calling him Birdie or something. And then it's like, oh, it's time. I have to activate the bars. Just.
Yeah. I need to disassociate. Oh my God. No, it's like I felt so much during so many parts of the book, but that was that whole scene, like with all the difficult conversations or difficult choices of like letting that bridge collapse and like all of these other things, like obviously it's devastating to the people, but like you gotta like they were doing what they had to do, and like it is terrible on all accounts, but and then seriously, that like you just said, that scene of like the clock ticking down, and like I was not chill.
No, just a mess. An
absolute mess.
Yeah. Even from the moment that Robin finally tells Victoire, no, this is my like break glass in case of emergency, like last resort plan. I've been holding on to it, but it's like we're all gonna die. Like this is the worst case scenario. but this is what has to happen. Like from there to the end was just me being like, this sucks. I'm
sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm upset.
Yeah, this is great. My favorite book. I'm
the best book of the year.
Love it.
Oh my god. Oh. But it is truly because like what caliber of book could make you feel and go through what this book did, you know?
Right. Like that's why I kept having to like stop and take a moment to be like, wow, I'm like, this is in my hand. This came out of someone's brain. This exists. I don't know how.
I know.
But like, holy shit, what a ride.
Holy shit is right.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
I know. The whole end, like the whole phase of the book where they're like, they take the tower, they're like, we're going on strike. You can stay or leave, but if you leave, you can come back. And then everyone leaves. It's like, oh.
Like, y'all suck.
Okay. So they're like, yeah, all of the white people left. All of the classicists left. Like,
sounds about right.
Cool.
Yeah, checks out, right. Well, and that's actually one thing I know, because this was my book club pick in October as well. So like we had our live show as well. And I remember one thing in particular was talking about, it was Victoire and, oh my God, what's her name? Tell me your name. Yes, Letty. She, like how she was written, even though like she like anger. Yeah. But like like before we knew that she was going to do what she was going to do. She was written, I think, really accurately because, you know, she's the only white person in the group. Like, and when she was getting pushback or saying like, you don't understand, like she genuinely was like, she was getting defensive. She was doing all of the things that like would be like what happens. You know, it wasn't like she wasn't immediately trying to understand or immediately trying to like do the things that, you know, we think we want to do. She was, it was written perfectly.
Yeah. Well, there's even that scene where they finally are trying to explain to her, like, okay, you want to know? We're going to tell you. And they end up having to comfort her.
Yes.
And all of them look at each other, like Victoire, Rami, and Robin are all like, why does this feel weird? And they realize, oh, it's because we just explained how painful and how fucked up all of our lives are. And we end up having to comfort the white girl.
Oh like, my God.
That was like a mic drop scene.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, her self-righteousness and like her, you know, like 17th century like girl bossification was like so gross next to everything else that was going on. Like we got her little snippet because like each of the three in the rest of the group had like their one chapter that wasn't Robin's POV. And Letty's little chapter was her being like, I want to be like my big brother, but it's hard because I'm a girl.
Right.
And like next to everyone else's struggles is like Letty. Like, oh my God.
Honey. Yeah. And I mean, like, I mean, just furthering, it's like how Victoire, like they had to live off campus kind of, and Victoire had to use the outside bathroom, and Letty like didn't even know. Like she's so ignorant, like all of those things. Like it's just she was so self-concerned and self-absorbed or involved that, you know, it's just like she didn't even know. Like she didn't want to know.
Exactly. Well, that's like when she decides to turn on them is when she realizes, oh, they're not going to do this peacefully. And it's like,
honey.
Okay. You're the worst and I hate you.
I know. You're the worst and I hate you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when she really has, it's like gloves off, finally see her full colors at the end where she goes to like negotiate with them in the tower, and Robin, hoping to get something out of her, is like, why did you kill Rami? Like, why did you specifically, hoping to get out of her?
Exactly.
Because I was offended that like the brown man didn't have eyes for me, because that's what everyone knows is like why she grew to resent Rami. But instead of saying that, she's like, oh, I just killed him. Like, I just did it. I just aimed, I just did it. And it was like,
no.
I want to drop kick this bitch.
I want to drop kick you.
Yeah, but very, very powerful.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ.
On page 379, I made an annotation that it was like right after, is this after chapter, what chapter is this in particular? Chapter, yeah. I remember this vividly. Chapter 22. So it was after Anthony got them from that party and like finally brought him into like the inner circle, you know?
Yeah.
And it was only on page 379. I was like, there's a couple hundred left. Like, but at the very, like before the paragraph break on the top of that page, when he was like, you've done very well, and I imagine you're quite scared, but you can relax now. The grown-ups are here. And I notated and I said, I feel safe and I don't trust it. Because I know that like things are going to crash and burn. Like I don't trust this safety.
Yeah. Well, there's even like a few scenes after that. They're in the old library and they're like, so how big is like the Hermes Society? Like, where is everyone? And Anthony's like, oh, you mean like people older than us? I don't know if there are any. After he was like, no, we are the grown-ups.
Right. We are literally the grown-ups. Yeah.
Yeah, it's us.
You're looking at it.
Yeah, it was wild. But then that professor, like that was a nice twist where Professor, is it Chakravarti?
Chakravarti, I think. Chakravarti?
Chakravarti.
It's either a V or a B.
I found it. It's a V.
Okay.
Chakravarti they get to the tower and he's like, I got your beacon. Great plan. And they're like,
screamed.
Oh, an ally.
I literally screamed.
Yeah. Especially after the bullshit that the other professor tried to pull with Robin to like do a little fake out. Like,
I'm so glad that Robin. Yeah, I'm glad that Robin knew, like, remembered Griffin's words of like, don't trust anyone, like literally. And I'm glad that he like played into it and like got out of there safely, obviously. But there was a part of me that I was like, oh my God, is he actually going to trust this man? I was like, oh God. I was like, please don't.
Yeah. I mean, that was like so precarious. Like whole time, like day one of Robin being at Oxford, he was like working with Griffin.
Yeah.
Which another thing is like years passed, which is why Rami ended up being so furious at Robin later. Of like, you've been doing this since day one. Like you didn't think that anyone else would be like interested. But like he and Griffin are like all doing these things and then has to give up that safe house like years into it to Professor Lovell in order to like let Victoire and Rami escape. And he's like, I don't even know what ramifications this will have. Like, did I just damn them all? I don't know. But I had to say like something. I had to give something up.
Yeah.
Which like my heart was in my throat at that point. Not even realize, the stakes are not even nearly as high as the stakes are going to get.
Right, exactly.
Just like the first little piece of the Hermes Society coming undone and like exposing one of the safe houses was like, oh, it's about to go down.
I know. We never found out what exactly came of that, right? It was just kind of like
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it was that's probably how it needs to be, because it's like whatever happened there, if anything happened there, you know, I mean, it was after, or it was like the people involved in that safe house or something, like was a different, like, I don't know, wing, I guess.
Yeah, because it's like he like gave them up and then they like immediately left for that trip to Canton where they ended up killing Professor Lovell.
Yeah.
So
well, and I bet I also wondered if it was like a fake safe house, that's the safe house that they give, or that they like as a society or has like agreed to give people like who are newer initiates in case they have to. save their skin or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
That's something that like to make myself feel better.
I know,
Like
because the only
maybe
reason
nothing bad
that
happened.
yeah, I mean that could be
Yeah.
because the only reason that Robin knew about it was because Griffin had told him. It's because when Robin is bitching, like, look, I got shot and then you did
Right.
nothing for me. Like, what was I supposed to do? And
Yeah.
Griffin was like, oh, if that ever happens again, like, there's a safe house.
Uh-huh.
Here it is. Go
Mhm.
crazy. And then we just like, Robin never used it. It was never really talked about again until he had to like give it up. So
Right.
that might be it if it was like
Maybe.
a bluff or something.
One can hope.
Yeah, maybe. No one had to get hurt there, right? Man, I feel like we've barely scratched the surface.
Oh, I know. But it's like what even can you say, you know?
God. Yeah, it's so funny. I'm just like in the middle of the book, like, wow, this was like only halfway.
I know, like realizing what was talked
so
about.
Oh, I wrote exclamation marks here. That's the extent of my annotating. It's like I'll highlight something and be like, exclamation mark.
Oh yeah, no, I do stars and exclamation marks all the time as well. I did a lot of underlining and brackets as well, and
I do a lot of brackets when I'm like, this whole paragraph I should highlight.
Yep.
Instead of highlighting, I'll just bracket the whole paragraph.
Yep.
Oh yeah, this is one of his many debates, not many, one of the few debates that Robin has with Professor Level, where he's like, hey, this is wrong. Like, how do you not see that all this is wrong? It's early. It's like 117. And it says, we take their languages, their ways of seeing and describing the world, we ought to give them something in return. And then but language, said Professor Level, is not like a commercial good, like tea or silks, to be bought and paid for. Yeah. Language is an infinite resource, and if we learn it, if we use it, who are we stealing from? Which is just like, you profoundly misunderstand.
Truly. Well, and this is the same conversation that, like, on the next page, on 118, that's when he says, you had the bars, they're easy to make, so why? Like, asking why he didn't save his mother. And he said she was only just a woman.
Yeah.
And then he gets more nasty as the book goes on, but
I know, I was like, that was polite.
Right, exactly.
Words later.
Well, even on page 88, a kind of a different, like switching gears a tad, but like the paragraph, 2 paragraphs before the paragraph break, I just annotated, I had like my pink tab is for foreshadowing, and I bracketed those 2 things, and I was just like, oh shit. Like I wrote, oh shit, because that's such strong foreshadowing, such an exciting thing to put on page 88 of this long book. Like later when everything went sideways and the world broke in half, Robin would think to this day, to this hour, at this table, and I can't.
What's funny is I tabbed and bracketed that exact paragraph.
I love it. It's truly iconic.
But yeah, like that's not even a quarter into the book to be like, oh shit's about to go down.
Yeah,
like,
like, this is going to destroy me, isn't it?
I wonder if I could find like the moment that Robin kills Professor Level is like we learn that he killed him by means of one of Robin's like reflections. Do you know what I mean? He's like, later I would never think that I killed my father in cold blood, and you're like, did that just happen?
Right. No, I think you're right.
Let me see if I can find that.
I think I just turned to it. Oh my god, I did 321 and I tabbed it. Holy shit, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, I highlighted that.
321. Oh my god. Over and over again, he would ask himself who had moved first, and this would torture him for the rest of his days, for he truly did not know. This he knew. And like then it went through the actual act, but like, oh yeah, the one before. Afterwards, Robin wondered if Professor Level had seen something in his eyes, a fire, you know.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah, because the last line of that paragraph is he wasn't sure whether he'd made up, convince himself he had not really murdered his father in cold blood.
I
And
love
it's
it.
like, what?
You're
Like,
like, wait.
what a way to drop that scene. Because the paragraph before that is like the whole etymology of the word anger, and then
Ah,
a like
ah,
reflective paragraph being like, did I kill him? Did I kill my dad? And the whole scene before that is like arguing about Robin's mother again, and then
right.
he like uses Griffin's very dangerous explosion bar, which also like I almost said poetry, which is a little bit too romantic of a word, but I was gonna say like the poetry of using that weapon to
Oh
kill
yeah.
Professor Evil that also killed what's her name, Evie, that like
Yes.
was the girl that Griffin killed that was gonna betray the Hermes Society with the
Yeah.
same bar, the same weapon, in like the same way. A similar confrontation was like,
Yep.
whoa.
It's poetic. It is, just in a
Yeah,
dark way.
very, very dark poetry.
Yeah. Yeah. Dark, depressing poetry, but it works.
There were a few other things like that you just felt this like ripple, like almost like history repeating itself. I'm trying to think, like as I was reading it, I was thinking like, wow, this is so well done that like it just kind of kept popping up. And now of course I can't think of what that was.
Mm. Huh. Do you remember like maybe like vibes of what it
I
was?
think it had to do something with like one of the other bars. Maybe it was Griffin's invisible bar, because that
Oh
came
yeah.
up so early. That was like
Yeah.
the very first time. That's probably what it was, because that's the first time that Robin holds and uses a bar on his own. Is like
Yep.
when he like comes across them on his first day at Oxford, and like helps them without anything, and like uses
Yes.
the invisible bar. And then we later learned that they were struggling because Griffin had lost his Chinese and couldn't
Yes.
use it himself.
And also that first instance, this is something that I mentioned in my show too that I had forgotten until now. The first instance when he sees Griffin, I know this isn't the case, but I went through it for a minute. I went through it for a minute because it said like I was looking at like an older version of myself.
Oh
And
yeah.
I like for a moment I was like, are we sci-fi? Is this a different is this a time traveler?
So I went down that too. Yeah,
Oh, I'm so glad because no one else agreed with
100%.
me.
100%. Even like down to when he meets them in the pub later, and he's
Yeah.
still like it hasn't been explained, and he's sitting across from some older man who looks like him. I for sure thought there was going to be like oh yeah, also Silver lets you time travel. I'm
Right.
you.
Literally.
Yeah,
But sadly, no.
but no.
You're actually
But
yeah.
I thought.
I know. That's funny. I'm glad that someone in this world also went down that path.
I mean, I think like at the end when like Antony has also died, Griffin has also died, and it's Robin and Victoire that are like the organizers of the strike in the tower. They say repeatedly that like the ghosts of Griffin and Antony are like constantly between them, because Antony was more of a like, we can do this non-violently, like we can write pamphlets, we can organize, and Griffin was like, no way, like we have to do this with force.
Yeah.
And that, especially after the death of those two characters, like we saw Robin and Victoire like wholly in a way become them and like echo their philosophies. And I thought that was a really interesting way to do that too, to be like the student becomes the master of like all of Anthony and Griffin's visions of all of their years of efforts, even like beyond their deaths, like their allies and accomplices, you know, keep their vision going towards the same end, just in their very two different philosophies, was like so nuanced and so interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Big woof.
I know. I finished this book like in tears, you know, finished it and just like had to sit there for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, like, silence.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to take your time with it and we pushed the live show just a mere week. But
me too. Yeah. Thank you for being flexible with me.
Of course. Yeah. No, well, in this book, I was like, it's too special for you to worry about a certain time. Yeah.
Yeah. I was glad that I did get to just kind of
enjoy
I don't
it.
know. Enjoy it.
Experience
And yeah, absorb, appreciate, highlight, and tab.
Truly.
This is the vibe, yes.
It is so good.
So good.
100% Jill.
So good. It's like when I went to like add my rating on Storygraph, I also realized I've been in a 5-star slump like for months. I don't know when the last 5-star I actually gave out was. And so in a way it was like, oh, this is what a good book feels like. And also I feel like, did I just ruin myself? Like, will I ever read a good book ever again? Is like,
I was terrified to read any book after this one.
Yeah.
Terrified. But I picked up like a completely different genre of a book, like a thriller, so that and it ended up being okay. But like I was like, I won't be able to read ever again.
That's how I feel. Like I think I have to read like a romance or something.
Yeah, no, you have to go you can't read a fantasy right now. I'm telling you, don't do it. You'll hate it.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Unless you have like history and like politics and language and magic.
Unless you're Babel, again, don't read it.
No, right. That's all I could think as I was reading it and tabbing it. It's like, wow, I can't wait to read this 12 more times.
I know.
Like
I know.
So amazing.
I know. I told my best friend about this book. We had like a group dinner the other night, and I was like, I have the next book for you. Are you ready? I was like, it's called Babel by R.F. Kuang. I was like, you are unprepared. And she's like, give it to me. I was like, after Wednesday, it's all yours. I was like, I need it for Wednesday, but then you can borrow it because I'm going to force this upon everyone.
Oh yeah, no, this is my personality now.
Oh,
this and Frankenstein are the two books that have consumed me this year.
I literally put Frankenstein on my wish list so that I can come back to it and buy it for myself sometime.
Yes, it is so good. And the fact that like Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley were even like referenced in the book a few times was like, this is weird. We're living in a simulation.
Oh yeah. I know, and it was super weird to see like the artists mentioned that like we actually have prints of like multiple prints. Yeah. I can't think of the artist's name right now. I wish I could. But like little things like that, I was like, deja vu. Like I don't know what's happening, but this is crazy.
How is this happening?
Yeah.
Something else that I loved, like I don't always love books that have the little, is it called epitaph or epigraph? The little thing under the chapter title, where it's like a little quote or something.
Yeah.
Like I forget the exact word. And sometimes I feel like those are just so superfluous.
Sure.
But I was like obsessed. Like sometimes I would tab just those because
me too.
They were just such a good little like what's the word, like amuse-bouche? It's like a little palate cleanser or like set the stage. I loved them, and they were just like so nicely chosen. They always just fit so perfectly.
They sure did. And I would be like, I'd go back and be like, now how did that relate here?
Yeah, it made me feel smart. It made me feel like a scholar reading this book. Maybe that's why dark academia is all the rage, because it just makes you feel like a scholar.
Yeah, I'm all about that rage. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a time.
What a time to be alive.
I mean, I guess there's like probably plenty we haven't touched on yet. But
no, I actually
like major things.
This is one of the best and most cohesive discussions that I've ever been a part of. So hats off to us and you.
I'm glad. I mean, all it took was both of us, finding new favorites. So
truly. No, very, very great. I mean, I'm sure that there are, hundreds of things to still go over. I mean, like I said, we could be here for hours.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And not get tired of it.
No, I'm not kidding when I say this is my personality now. Like this is
yeah.
People will get tired of me talking about Babel, but today is not yet that day.
No.
What was his like the housekeeper that worked for Professor Lovell that almost became like a mother figure to him? Was it
Piper? It was, hold on.
Like, she was just like such a sweetie, and then there was that scene where he realizes, oh, I'm never gonna see her again.
Oh my God.
That got me.
That killed me too, yeah. It's before. Oh, wait. Yeah, Miss Piper, you're right. Wow.
Nailed it. I just pulled that one out of my butt, so sometimes it works.
I was like, I don't know, maybe.
That's totally got me. Yeah, because it's so, he's like asking her, hey, and just in case the professor dies,
like, you have
you
someone,
have somewhere
right?
to go. Yeah. Yeah, that was the first piece of foreshadowing that I thought maybe Robin dies. Because until then I was like, they might figure something out. Like, I don't know. We'll see how whatever happens.
Yeah.
But that was the first idea, because Robin is like so shattered and like so helpless, talking to this person that he loves and realizes there's no way that I ever will see her again. I realized, okay, Rebecca, are you gonna kill off the protagonist? Is that what's happening?
Are you gonna kill me, Rebecca?
Right. Am I going to be absolutely destroyed? Yes.
Oh, you're right. My goodness.
Yeah, what a time.
Truly.
What a time. Well, thanks for gushing about this with me.
Oh my God, of course. I was so excited when you asked me. I was like, yes, I know that this book is going to be, if not the most amazing book I read, it'll have a lot of cool discussion points.
Oh yeah.
And it was everything and then some. So amazing.
Yes. I knew it was not going to have a magical way out. Yeah. There's no
literally on page, like, I don't know, but before we even hit page 100, I was like, this book is literally going to destroy me, and nothing has even happened yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole book is building up to like empires are evil, colonialism is evil. So like the only way that the book would end is like either a lot of people die and or like down with empire. So it was like we got a little splash of everything, but yeah, just so much. Rebecca Kuang really did that.
She really did that.
She really did that. Yeah.
I'm so glad. Thank you for asking me to come chat with you. This was so healing.
I know. I feel much better. This is like a therapy session.
True. It really, really was. Oh, I'm going to repost the link to this live show all the time.
Yeah, I read Darian's Goodreads review before we started this live, and Darian is like, I will be billing RF Kuang for my therapy bills. I'm like, oh, same. Actually, not RF Kuang, but Fonda Lee just posted for like some.
I saw that.
You see that? Like the auction item was like, Fonda Lee will personally write you an apology for causing harm for any of her books. I'm like, I need that. One from Fonda Lee, and also now I need that from Rebecca Kuang.
Yes, 100%. I need that from both of them. Oh my God. Oh my God. Both of them are so iconic. I love them.
Yeah.
My heart. It's still not healed, but it feels a little lighter.
Yes. Well, yeah. Misery loves company. Here we are.
Yeah.
Do you have anything upcoming that you want to tell the people about before we go?
I am trying to do some Goodreads Choice Awards videos coming out. One will be out on Sunday.
Nice.
Other than that, I mean, I'm just kind of beat bopping around. I'm planning for next year. I'm not doing Vlogmas or anything. I don't have time for it. But yeah, some holiday videos will occur. But right now, just kind of beat bopping, doing some fun beat bopping around. I'm just doing some fun like solo TBR projects. Like I haven't done scheduled monthly TBRs for a few months now, which has been great.
Nice.
Mostly due to the wedding, but
oh, that little event.
That small event that almost
just that one gathering. Wow. Well, yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining me and talking about all of the pain we experienced.
It's feelings mutual. I appreciate you.
Anytime. And for everyone else, I will see you In a month, we're talking about The Book Eaters by Sonia Dean, which I also still haven't read yet. But
I also
yeah.
sounds so good. I want to read that as well. Yeah. I'm glad now I know. Now I'll try to make that a priority.
Yeah, that should be tentatively for the second Wednesday in December, but more deets to come when we get there.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll see you cowboys later. Bye.
Bye.
I love it.